All right, hey. So I just got back from the gym and it made me remember a conversation I had yesterday with someone, and running came up somehow. And he said, "Oh, wow, you used to do some serious miles." And I was like, "Oh, shoot, I did used to run some serious miles. I had totally forgotten." It made me think of like running with the run crew that I did. I mean, they were like the first to do it. Running from Bowery to Rockaway Beach just for tacos, and how much my mind was my greatest tool. But I don't think I became aware of that. I don't think I had the consciousness of how much I use my mind over anything. I just thought it was me running every week that took me to the destination, right? But it was when I signed up for my first half marathon. I was running with an amazing group of women for the Nike Tiffany collaboration marathon in San Francisco. This was going to be my first race ever. I signed up for the half. I was the only the of us to be doing the half, and the rest of the ladies were all running a full. Some had. I was a little like nervous, and so the half felt comfortable to me. So in running, they during that whole season of training, they always would say, "Aaron, you should just do the full." Now, I don't think we ran. I ran at least. I don't think I ran more than 18, maybe 20 miles during that training season. But what I had started to do was internally prepare to run the full. I didn't tell anyone. They would say it, I would receive, and I would just be like, I don't know. I don't know. But internally and mentally, I was preparing to run the full. I told myself if the half feels good, then I'll just keep going. But in my mind, I was already running the full. I just didn't want to say it out loud. I didn't want to actually commit to it verbally. But my body, I think, without knowing, was preparing when my mind was. So when I got there, and I know it's hilly, it was hard. When the halfway point came, you could go half, what you're signed up for, or you can keep going to the full. I was like, the half feels really good. And if I were to do that, then I would always wonder, like, how would the full have felt. So I decided to keep going towards the full. And so that's when I realized, oh, so this part is actually all mental. And yes, I needed to train or whatever, but it was my first like true understanding of like just the power of the mind. And I know, although I needed those miles in for my body to recognize what it was capable of and to feel the feeling of long distance, I was like, oh, this is mental. This is mental. I There was no doubt about it that not only was it mental in that moment, but also my preparation internally and mentally to do the full already. I already had conversations with myself about it, already was contemplating it. Although I hadn't verbally said it, I had pretty much committed to it silently and secretly to myself. And so I knew that that was like the biggest tool of the whole entire thing. Because of that, then during those mental challenges, that second half of the race, like I was able to push through, but it was fully mental. Made it through. It was a beautiful like feeling to think like, oh, I pushed through the hardest part. I decided to take the harder road, but realizing like the power of the mind in that moment. Now, I think I keep forgetting, and I have to learn this lesson over and over again. But I do know that that was possibly the first awareness consciously that I had about the mind. I remember some years later that I hadn't been running, and I probably hadn't ran more than 2 to 3 miles, but I wanted to run 7 miles for my birthday. So I told myself that I was running 7 miles and prepared mentally for that before I went to bed. That next day, I ran 7 miles. Now, if the day before, just running 2 or 3 felt like the hardest thing because that was all my mind had like prepared myself for. I told myself 2 or 3, and it felt like 7, honestly. But I made it through that 7, and I was like, oh, yeah, the body knew already how to do it. The mind just needed to be told, right? Doesn't mean it wasn't hard, doesn't mean there weren't moments where I wanted to like stop, but the fact that I was able to do it. And so this is me talking to myself, but also just sharing a little story that I forgot about, and to remind myself that I used to be a serious runner. I used to do miles in the dead of winter in New York City by myself, 18 miles here, 20 miles there, summer, winter, all the seasons. And it was hard, but I always got through it. And my mind was like my biggest tool for sure. So a reminder to me, and hopefully you enjoyed that story, and maybe a reminder to you, honestly. All right, see you tomorrow.